This is the CRL Modified Division, here for round 14 of 17 in 2009, the last night race of the year, the Washington Apples Challenge at Evergreen from the Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. Adazuma Kazuyama's name to the very exclusive list of drivers with 2 Red Robin Pole Awards this year. He joins Jeremiah Brooks and Chris Winter. Kazuyama, of course, sat on the pole for the opening round of the season at New Hampshire, where he ended up finishing 7th that day. Share the front row tonight with Robert Klesel, and there you see CJ Cameron starting 3rd after his scary practice accident last night. And look at the nice jump that Kazuyama puts on the field right off the bat. Look at the distance he's put between himself and Klesel on the opening lap. So clearly, Klesel doesn't have a very fast car in race traffic, but Kazuyama does. Top 3 at the end of lap 1, Kazuyama, Robert Klesel, and Landon Rohde in the 33. Lap 2, Montana Mosias in the back of the pack. He is Reed Weber to his inside. Chris Winter coming up on the outside. As they hit the back straightaway, Weber sort of pushes the one up the track a little bit. He gets into Winter, and Mosias slides a bit but recovers well. Here's Alan Musico. Second in points coming into tonight's race. He could take the lead if he has a good enough finish. And Nathan Ferguson does not score. Ferguson already off to a bad start by qualifying 15th. At this point, Musico is up to 7th, battling with Axel Andersson. Here's Jeremiah Brooks in the 06. He is going to hand this car off for at least one race, the next race at Martinsville, to Kennedy Hugh, 2001 CRL Modified Division champ. Hugh was last seen at the 2002 race at Grand Detour, where he was injured in an accident. Hugh will be driving the 06 full-time in 2010, and Brooks is only happy to allow a former champion to come back to the sport in his seat. Here's last week's winner, Craig Mummert. This is about 8 laps in. Mummert qualified 14th for tonight's race, but he's already dropped back way to the back of the pack. That's Jay Jannerin in the 94 in last, and you see CJ Cameron's already fallen back all the way there as well. Here's Kazuyama completing lap 10, and his lead over second place up to 10 seconds already, so he's on a flyer. Lap 12, middle of the pack, Gordon Moss in the 49, runs it a bit wide, coming out of 2, but manages to keep it off the wall, so good driving by the young Englishman. Lap 16, Axel Andersson passes Sean Percy for second place. Andersson started tonight's race in 13th, and he has done really well since he picked up his second win of the season at Mosport. First caution of the night on lap 17. The back of the pack, Jay Jannerin gets into Montana Mosias, spins the one around. Kurt Shelton hits him as he tries to go by. Both drivers would continue. Restart at the end of lap 22, Kazuyama leading Andersson and Percy. And watch the nice jump that Kazuyama gets over poor CJ Cameron, who's already fallen a lap down. Can this weekend get any worse? Kazuyama managing to get away from the 13 right off the green flag. So Kazuyama with a fast ride tonight. Here's Nathan Ferguson, middle of the pack. He qualified 15th, and he's not moved up. In fact, he's moved back a bit, so it looks like he won't be scoring again tonight. Here comes the second caution of the night on lap 24. Alan Musico gets into the back of CJ Cameron and spins him going on to the back straightaway. Musico has to jam on the brakes, and he ends up going back into mid-pack, whereas Cameron's nightmarish weekend just keeps going and going and going. Restart at the end of lap 29. Kazuyama still leading Andersson and Percy. John Hawks in the top 5 now, in the number 45. Christian Jeffries was pulled from that ride. MT Motorsports will find him a slot in a stock car series, so he's still employed with them. He's just not driving the modified anymore, as Kazuyama gets a nice jump. Lap 32, here's Landon Rohde in 4th, blowing his engine going into turn number 1, and watch the bottleneck effect that takes place. I can't believe there wasn't a yellow flag for this. You'll see Ron Mertz in the 81 get by, Hawks in the 45, Randy Robinson in the 22, Mike Lee in the 15. Alex Neshmary has to dive down to the inside in the 37. And watch as Rohde comes into the pits. Watch the top right-hand corner of the screen. You'll see the 27 of Holden Roberts start to loop around. We'll show that from a different angle now. You see Rylan Hayden in the 09 right behind him, turning him, and then he gets clipped by Carter Davis in the 87 and gets hit by Carter Lice, Jeremiah Brooks, Gordon Moss. I can't believe there wasn't a caution for this either. Speaking of Carter Davis, here he comes one lap later. He too is an engine failure, and he will drop out of the race and finish 31st, so David's luck continues to go downhill. David's, of course, won at Nashville in round 4, but he hasn't had many good finishes since. This is lap 36. Kazayama right behind the 44 of Gary D'Souza, and Anderson is caught up too, but Kazayama a little bit hesitant to look down to the inside of D'Souza to lap him because that would jam both he and Anderson up. Luckily, he would get a little bit of relief because the third caution of the night would come out on lap 37. This is Ron Mertz in 8th, jammed up behind CJ Cameron. They come off of 4. Mike Lee turns the 81 into the inside wall, but Mertz would keep going, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he fell out of the points after this incident. Under caution, here's Zuma Kazayama coming across the line to complete lap 41. 39 laps left in this race. Kazayama's led them all. That means he clinches the bonus point for leading the most laps. for the championship.